Welcome back, everybody. Final match here on our main feature table, and it's a biggie. It is a biggie. The one we've been waiting for, the Pro Series 5 final. And McCullough got us underway with his opening break. It's the second final in a pro tournament for McCullough, coming up short in the British Open earlier this year against 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. This time he has got a match-up with a multiple-time champion, John McAllister, right up there on top of the game. And it is John with the first opportunity here. Race to 8 frames, 50 minutes. Simon Webb and Mark Shepherd with you on commentary.
And what a spectacle we've got here. This is the 60th Ultimate Pool ranking pro event, and this must be the grandest format we've seen yet. This is a fantastic venue. This is the most players we've ever had at a single event. And those pros have fought their way through a very tough 64-man field to get to this point.
Like that, Nugget. 60. Is that 60 series titles or 60 overall titles?
I think, and I'm probably going to get proved wrong on this, there have been 60 ranking events, not just Pro Series, all the ranking events.
With Tom being, well, I suppose I don't know how many Toms were ranking, I think, because at least 2, maybe 3 of them were non-ranked, so it's difficult. I'd have to consult the record books on that one, but I think Tom's at 12 titles, but not all ranked.
Tom has got 12 titles, of which 9 were ranking.
There we go. We had Clash of the Titans, which is one of the non-ranked. He had a Champion of Champions. That would have been non-ranked. Where would the other one be? Oh, I'd need a few minutes, I reckon, for that one. Come on, put me out my misery.
Last man standing.
Oh, of course, the last man standing. Of course it was. John on 3 titles with all ranked.
John is on 3 titles, 2 ranked. One was the Pairs Cup.
Pairs Cup, of course. Close. Anyway, John McAllister is into the final, looking for his 4th title with Ultimate Pool. And he will start this as the favourite. He's right up there in the rankings. Had to scrap his way through the semi-final. What a match it was with Josh 𝗏𝗏, who's had a great run here to the semi-finals, but it was John that got the finish in the deciding frame. You'd have seen that over on YouTube. Very heartbreaking final break for Josh 𝗏𝗏, but it was John that made the clearance, and here he is going back to back essentially, because his first visit to the table in the final is also a clearance off his opponent's scratched break.
Sometimes the way, isn't it, with semi-finals, there's just so much on it to get through to the final that I think it being maybe a bit scrappier than some of the earlier round matches. John has definitely been one of the players of the weekend. The match we witnessed on this table last night against Phil Harrison just looked so composed. That was right at the beginning of the tournament, but even at that point we were saying surely he's got to be considered one of the favourites. He just seemed to just be not doing anything very flashy, but just seemed to always be doing the right thing.
John will always be one of the favourites, and the minute he signed to come and join Ultimate Pool, it was just instantly a case for me. You know, maybe not everyone was saying that, but for me it was just when will he win his first title, when will he win his second, and so on, because his level is so high. He very rarely dips. He's very consistent, brilliant temperament, great composure out there. The only question mark when he joined Ultimate Pool for me was, how does he cope with the match situation, the match clock, the fact that he will use the shot clock more than most. He's certainly not, if you take the match clock away, he's not a slow player, but he will use 30 seconds more than most, and that has seen him get into a lot of kind of tight matches at the back end. Early on he was in a lot of 6 red shootouts, but his level on the table is always high.
His break's a great example of that. He just always seems to hit it dead straight. More than pretty much anyone, you see the ball coming back in a straight line up the middle of the table. Just the accuracy of his cueing. He's come up a little bit short here. Should still be okay, but a bit thinner than he wanted.
I tried to hold and it's just drifted a little bit too far.
Doesn't really want to have to reroute to the ball at the bottom of the table because he's got to get to the 8-ball somehow, and currently that's his best option for it. It's a decent recovery shot. That's what he's very good at. Just doesn't seem to smash the ball too hard. Sometimes you see people fall out of position and they really throw their arm at things. Just seems to always have the pace right with every shot. Also came through a tight match against Josh Kane earlier on. Josh got off to way the better start in that match, and you wondered if John was going to get enough chances. Somehow he just seemed to hang around in the match and got better and better as it carried on.
He's come up short here though. Now he's got a problem. He was trying to get to the straight. He probably had a bit of room going, maybe 2-3 rolls past the straight, and then he could have used the cushion, but finishing this far short. Now he's got to work a cue ball, but does have big shot making capabilities in the locker.
So play the red off the yellows. He's just going to have to, yeah, he does.
Oh, the yellow gets in the way, and he's in trouble. So he will need the big shot making here. Where's he going?
Not helpful being so close to the ball, because he's really going to have to get it travelling, and hard to hit it hard from this kind of position.
So tries to get the cue ball as tight to that yellow as possible. Doesn't want touching ball, but wants as close without touching as possible to at least put the pressure on, but it's not really done much there. If he's on this yellow to right centre, it's not too bad here for Rab.
Yeah, John's done a thing you don't very often see in that position of not attempting a shot on the black, although the option's very limited. I think he was probably trying to get the 8-ball right over the corner pocket and also play it tight. The problem is here, obviously, Rab's under no pressure because he can just play this kind of snooker. If the ball's right over the corner, then it's a slightly different situation. Because now you feel he needs to make something happen, but if he's going to have a hit at it here, he could almost have had a hit at it the previous time when he had a clean shot.
I think it was just the case that he could get more movement, and he couldn't see a way previously of finding it. You know, it's not just hit and hope; it's trying to find a way to get it somewhere. Whereas that one, he felt, he's got to hit it firm enough to hit a cushion. He's in trouble, so yeah, it's just highlights the level of mess he made, really, with his visit.
It's going to be a different match, this one, for Rab, playing a player he knew very well, his teammate Declan Brennan, in the semi-final. Yeah, certainly know John pretty well and will no doubt have played him, but a slightly different situation.
My word, what a mistake that is. Staggering miss from Rab. It was almost hanging over the pocket, and it was harder to miss the plant than it was to make it.
And that goes down as the ultimate let-off for John. He shouldn't have had another sight at that 8-ball in that frame. And with 4 balls still on the table, he's invited back to pot it. Well, had the cue ball tracking down the middle of the table and then almost snapped over to the corner. But luckily for him, it didn't go in. Strange double kiss it took at the very end. Needs to make amends, not just in terms of the scoreline, but just to put that mistake out of his mind. He's not somebody that usually looks too rattled by mistakes, though. He seems pretty good at controlling his emotions when he's out there. Slightly messy situation with the reds at the bottom of the table. Not an immediately inviting clearance for him.
Yeah, I was just trying to work out whether it's worth going. Got a slight angle on the one's bottom right to maybe pinch the pocket and maybe develop one of the balls, but I think he's probably made a wise choice there. Pulling back, popping over one over the right centre is another ball to attack the problem with.
Especially when you're 2-0 down, you don't want to get into that mindset that you're chasing after things.
Yeah. Clever shot from John. Rare covering a pocket gets you too much of an advantage, but covers the 8 ball with no easy loss of turn, and it's not an easy ball for Rab to deal with if at any point he feels like being aggressive. So it's a control shot from John.
And he is a clever player like that. I've seen throughout the weekend he's made some great clearances, but he's pulled back at the right moments. So Rab tries to go around the houses, and he was aiming to hit the red and yellow together, not the loose red.
Yeah, nowhere to go from here.
He's going to be hoping that he can at least get in behind the red after this shot, but he's going to have to be quite delicate with this. Well, couldn't just get into that corner, so decided to go the other way and open things up.
He has left John the perfect angle to open up his trickiest ball. If he wants to take it on, I think he's got the... Maybe it's just a touch too much angle that he would end up just catching the red, maybe not the yellow, which is what he'd want. He'd love to catch the underside of the yellow on the right-hand side. He did. He didn't want to play it firm, because if he plays that firm enough to move it out, it's going to hit the red, not the yellow. So he tried to go for a kind of really delicate one and hope it pops out enough to manufacture another shot. But didn't work, so probably back to the control game, you feel.
Yeah, as long as he's got that yellow over the bottom corner pocket, he's going to have some control, so he doesn't have to rush into anything. Wants to just try to keep his balls in open play, just in case Rab does give him a chance. Gonna try and free up this ball down the bottom right corner. Well, it's done quite well in terms of the control. Hasn't quite promoted his own ball, but nothing great for Rab to go after here. It's been a fairly slow start to the match, with 13 minutes down already and only 2 frames on the board.
Already feel like the match clock is going to play a big factor here.
We haven't seen any 6-run shootouts this weekend. Could the final be the first? Although for that to happen, Rab's obviously going to have to start notching up some frames on his side of the scoreboard. Christophe Lambert there in the crowd.
He's been out of form for a little while, has Christophe. So entertaining when he's playing well.
Nice to see some of the pros watching this game. It looked like he was analysing the game fairly seriously as well. I think perhaps that's always a factor with the pros that are travelling a bit further. Tend to sort of stick together, obviously, with the people they're travelling with, but also embrace the weekend a bit more. It's not like he's got any thoughts of driving home. He's planned to be here for the weekend, so nice to see him taking full advantage and watching some of the action. Well, if this frame continues in this vein, the time is certainly going to become a relevant factor, because that match clock is ticking down, 15 minutes down. Not very often you expect these two to take an average of 7.5 minutes per completed frame.
Not entirely sure what he was trying to do there. Did he hit the wrong ball? Was it a safety effort that went wrong? Because if he was playing the plant on the other two, he didn't want to flick the one he flicked on the way through. I think that probably was what he was playing. But it's gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, it's ended up looking a bit silly. Although this is one of these positions where John's obviously got the upper hand because he's at the table, but he could turn around very quickly, particularly if that happens, because now if John doesn't make this clearance, the Reds are also all open bar one. On one level he won't mind the ball having gone in because he doesn't want to come back for it. Possibly would have liked the insurance of the ball over the bottom left.
I was trying to work out whether he played for it or not. I don't think there's enough benefit for him to have played for it. But it was risky to play it without them both going in, just in case it went and sat sort of behind the 8 ball. That's why I thought he might go for a very delicate kind of just much more gentle pace onto it. I'm not sure there was any benefit for making both.
Well, either way, he's going to have to commit to the finish and get the finish, which he's firmly expecting to do. Although, he has not pushed that ball as far as he'd hoped to. He'd love that just to have popped over the middle pocket. And now he's left himself having to really play a shot.
I really fancy him to make this. I really do. I feel in his mind, because good things could happen if he misses, I think it would just relax him enough to cue it in. Never touch the sides. How about that for a shot?
He is very good at those. He just plays them at exactly the right pace, doesn't smash too hard at them. Be deeply relieved to have got that ball in hand. It is Simon Fitzmaurice that wins the Tier 1 final. Great performance from both players to get to that deciding frame.
And as we come back to our match, the Pro Series final, John McAllister goes in off. So leaving the arena, resetting himself, hasn't really worked for him. That is a really unfortunate in off, actually. And I say resetting himself because he's 3-0 in front, but he won't feel like he started playing yet.
No, it's been a strange sort of match, hasn't it? I mean, Rab did have a bit of that in his last couple of matches as well. It felt like scrapping his way through a bit. Earlier on we saw him playing. He looked a bit more fluent, but just kind of the way the games went, I don't think it was really anything he was doing. Good chance now for his first frame, though. Is in pretty much A1 position. He'd like to get the first frame on the board before John's too far ahead. Just needs to settle himself down into this match. 3-1, not ideal, but that's not going to feel too bad. And this is much better. It's just looking a lot more fluent as he goes through these balls.
He's very close to that on the shirt foul. Very close. Referee Mark Goff was all over it though, so obviously just far enough away, and he is on the board. He's always had a lot of belief in his game, knows the level he can play at, and I think making it up to the pros, earning that right, is just giving him that emphasis to go and kind of put more time in on the practice table, and it's really paying off.
And turning pro can sometimes be the incentive you need. Who isn't going to go and practice when you've got the opportunity to play in these kind of venues and these kind of events? He's had a lot of close matches along the way. 8-5, 8-7, 8-4, 8-7, 8-6. I mean, he's basically played about as much pool as he could have done in all of those matches. Quarter final he had against 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏 won in a deciding frame earlier. That match took a long time as well, though. Really going at it, those two. And then an 8-6 win over Declan Brennan in the semi-final.
You can't believe he went in off there. But he arced it around, actually. He was trying to arc it around and bottom cushion into it and just got a little deep and in it flew. Ball in hand makes a massive difference as well. Let's have another look here. Yeah, see how he's just trying to arc it and he just got too much. But ball in hand gives John the opportunity to go into his bad ball. Wants yellows, of course he can go either way here. Just needs that red not to stick in the pocket. Not to stick in the pocket. It wasn't set as a plant. Maybe he felt it was going to rattle and sort of spit away. John's right up there as one of the best players of that style of combination shot with a ball onto a ball. He's incredibly good at it, and this is a high tariff one if he plays on it because it's so far into the side of the pocket. I expect him to make it though.
Yeah, it's a judgment of this because if you're playing it just as a straight plant, you obviously favour the right hand jaw, but you can't afford to over favour the jaw when you're trying to pop both balls. It's something that really comes with experience. It's a sort of unnatural shot to play.
Well, your margin of error is just small, and your margin of error, because normally you try and get the yellow onto the red as full as possible, but your margin of error, it can't go onto the jaw because it will stick. So your kind of margin is into the open side of the pocket. But John's so good at these. I really do expect him just to make this look simple. But the fact he's kind of re-looking at it and re-looking at it just highlights how tough this is.
It's also not, if you had to play it from here, it's just not the best place. You just want to be a bit straighter on it. But then, if he doesn't go for that, what is he playing?
Yeah, nowhere near in the end. It was me saying I think he'd get it. He was nowhere near. Very, very tough shot he was forced to play there.
Yeah, I think the more he looked at it and the more we looked at it, you realise just how much the ball was on the jaw. Nice shot to open up from Rab, thin enough that he was able to get over for the potentially difficult ball into the same pocket. He's going to be happy to leave the ball on the right-hand rail until last because it connects nicely to the 8 ball. So just screw this ball on and off the right-hand side cushion, try and finish relatively straight. Oh, good Lord. What have we seen there? How on earth has he missed that ball? Well, he's amusing himself with that. That is a terrible miss. He's missed it by some margin as well. One of the best 𝗑ists in the game normally. Just the occasion got to him there, or a lapse of concentration. Sometimes it's hard to know what to put it down to. Oh, this is a really good shot. If this just bounces an inch or so off the cushion, maybe you've favoured it bouncing just a little bit more to get closer position on the 8 ball, but he's judged that nicely. Don't think he's going to want to risk hitting this too hard. Didn't need to though. It's just such a smooth 𝗑ist, even there where he had very little angle to play with. Just able to manufacture just enough. Very good from John McAllister. Left a 3-ball clearance that he shouldn't have been left and was always likely to get, but still had to play a couple of shots to get it done. Well, he would have loved to do that, but he's not going to get the chance because as well as he's hit these, nothing has found a pocket. just really wants to get his hand on the table and get another frame to settle himself. This isn't the ideal candidate. It's a fairly congested layout.
You feel like there's another frame with time. Time going to be taken out the match.
I've seen a few frames like this where players have been reluctant to choose a colour and they've just played these containing safeties. Maybe could have been tempted there just to get on the colour. Probably the yellows would have been the one you could have played and then play the safety, just because you've got a slightly clearer objective at that point. You're trying to promote one colour over the other. But then you can never really blame a player for playing this kind of tight containing shot if it's available. Well, it's not going to like the next shot very much, and it's not immediately clear how he's going to play a safety from here.
Yellows aren't too bad. That's the problem. Not the end of the world, that. He's blocked off at least one yellow. Well, has blocked off one yellow. Hasn't left anything inviting. Yes, he's left a shot on. Ravd will feel forced to go. But it's capable of getting it, but it's not also very easy. There's a starter.
Yeah, it's really on the 50-yard line, this, isn't it, as to whether this is a clearance you want to be going after. He's not sure he's got enough easy balls as part of the clearance to deal with the difficult ones.
Play this one off the red, open up the one down the table. He's got to play position probably on the one underneath his hand. No, he's not playing it off the red. Very nice. That wasn't guaranteed to come out nicely with the reds being where they are, but got the contact perfect.
Now, does he play to move the one on the right-hand side? Or is that too risky? Quite a chance he'd bump it above the middle pocket if you cannon the low side of it. Just play up, play the double on the one on the right-hand side and then swing the cue ball round for the one on the left. In fact, I had enough angle to drop behind it. That works just as well.
He worked himself into trouble, and it was always going to be a tough finish, but it felt like he'd done the hard work to give himself a chance and just put himself in trouble.
Seems like it's been the pattern of this match. More often than not, John's coming to the table with the easier of the chances. Nice angle here if he wants to develop the red on the right-hand side cushion. He's trying to play that in a controlled way. He didn't want to get too heavily into that, but that's not quite come off. It's frustrating when you try and play those shots that are near the middle pocket and you bump them closer. It's now in a worse place to access than it was before he played the cannon. So just going to have to take his medicine. He's had one go at moving the ball on the right rail. He's not going to have another. He's just going to drop behind it. He's already played one very good quality shot the other way down that rail in this match.
Had to play a good shot there just to get relatively good on this ball, and probably gone a couple of rolls further than he wanted.
Not least because if he were to miss it, he's going to leave more of the yellow than he would had he been straighter. He's played an absolutely perfect shot though.
That was beautiful. And he's 5-1 in front. 5-1 in front, 20 minutes left in the match. He'll be bitterly disappointed if he doesn't find some form and take it to John here and get back in the match. But yeah, in a cold light of day, you know, you can be proud of another good run through to a final if it doesn't go your way. But he'll be very disappointed in the moment. But he's got time. He's got time on his hands to turn it around. And he's got a chance to start that right here and now. This is a good split.
And this is the kind of frame he needs. He's been getting involved in too many scrappy frames where things have been going wrong. Just wants a simple first visit clearance. Played that pretty well. Wanted to avoid that yellow. Can drop the ball on the top rail. Naturally come out for choice of reds. Also, he won't mind the fact this is a fairly quick frame, even though he has got more than enough time to get back in the match. We'll be conscious that we are edging towards the end. Doesn't want to be having to make too much of a last gasp dash at it.
Just don't leave it straight here. Go through, pull back, either way, don't leave it straight.
Left himself at a good angle to screw down towards the middle of the table. 8 ball to the bottom right. Much better this from Rab. This is what he's been doing all day to get to this point. Much simpler frame, did what he needed to do. Played down to the last 32 stage in Pro Series Event 6, so that's where we'll pick up the action when we come back tomorrow morning. We'll be playing down to a finish tomorrow night.
Splits are starting to get a little bit bigger here. The last few now. The last thing that Rab really wants to get into is a trading blows, because John's the sort of player that just ignores the scoreline and just will start taking them out. So he kind of needs his side of the table to be big and John's side to be messy, which is asking a lot.
That's exactly the thing. Once you slip 3 frames behind, it's no good just winning the odd one off your own break. You've got to have something handed to you. Most likely a dry break. Hoping for a mistake in open play from John from this kind of position is unlikely. especially once he gets further ahead in this match. He can only grow in confidence. 3 Ultimate Pool titles already in his relatively short Ultimate Pool career. Edging towards a 4th. Had his son in the crowd watching his game last night. I think it might be a bit past bedtime given the time we've got to tonight. Been a real family effort at the venue this weekend. So this 8-ball for a 4-frame lead.
Reaction here tells me that he was playing for this in the left centre pocket. It's a ball he should never miss, but he's got to just cue it in, whereas before it was going to be an unmissable shot. Never going to miss it though, was he? It just took that few extra seconds just to reset himself. And he's 4 clear. 2 breaks clear. That's what makes him so dangerous. Such a high floor. Oh no. Kicked in off for McCullough. That could be his last shot in the match, the level that John's playing right now. This is a good split to go 1 away and have the break.
That's just horrible. It's got kicked in, and just look at the split he's left as well.
Do you go yellows here? He's going to go reds. I was just thinking, the 8-ball's guarded. You cue in 1 yellow to bottom left, and you look at it and go, oh, that's really good layout then. Maybe the 2 yellows together are just awkward enough, but where's the 8-ball going? Which balls are he using to get there? If he goes right centre, bottom right corner, last 2 balls, 8-ball goes left centre, I suppose. So if he deals with the left-hand side of the table and anywhere near straight in on the one to right centre, it's a really good pattern.
Yeah, that's the sensible pattern, I think. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It seems a big statement to be saying that could be the end of it for Rab at that point, but hard to see where a miss would come from here. Then it's John's break next, and we know how big that is.
That's not where he wanted to be. He wanted to be another few rolls, closer to straight in left centre. Gets him on the one up the table. We know what he was going to do back end, so it's a reroute, you feel.
Yeah, he can't carry on the left-hand side. It's okay taking this one to the right centre because the pattern still exists. It's just he'll have to play a more precise shot. He'll leave the one bottom right still. He'll just have to come back for that last. He's now just got to play a shot to leave himself an angle on the one to left centre. It's not the most natural position, but as long as he leaves himself just off straight on it. He's a proven winner as well, which is a valuable attribute. You can get into these positions and some people suddenly get a bit overexcited. With John, you just know he knows how to get the job done. Ronan Fay, good friend of Ram McCulloch's, looking on from the sidelines. His man needs all the encouragement he can get right now.
He was crossing the line there, but landed perfect. It's a drop-in. If he landed with lots of angle either way, and he's got a touchy shot to play, but he's just put it where he won't have any issues getting onto the 8-ball.
And that was exactly the issue. That's why we were saying getting there from the ball over the left centre wasn't easy. Had to judge the pace as well as the line, but it's just so accurate with that kind of shot. It never really felt like it was in doubt. Also, one interesting stat is that John McAllister has never lost in a final. All the people around him that have won more titles have got some runners-up spots as well. He's currently batting 3 from 3 though, and he's very close to making that 4 from 4.
So Rab will get back to the table. 11.5 minutes, minimum 5 frames. I said there's plenty of time for John. There is no time for Rab McCullough. He has to win essentially 2 minutes of frame from here to get us all square.
No golden breaking operation this weekend, so he's going to have to do it the hard way as well. They're all going to have to be actual clearances. More importantly, I mean, he's capable of that many clearances and he's capable of it at that speed, but where's he getting the chances from? He's at that stage in the game when you can play with a lot more freedom. The pressure's almost gone. He's so far behind. Where it gets more interesting is where the gap starts narrowing. If he gets to that point, then the pressure will be back. In this visit, the main intrigue comes from how he's dealing with the 8-ball.
It's a horrible ball to get to. I think he should have left the one he's got now as his connection. If he was where he is now, you're punching through the gap. And you're on the 8-ball as good as you could get, really. So could have pulled that one back further, and I mean, you'd have been crossing yourself a little bit, but I guess can't be too critical at 30 seconds a shot, but he's playing essentially 15 seconds a shot because he's trying to run through and make it as quick as possible.
Wow, he's almost underdone that. I think he's just made it. Not quite a full pocket, but can see most of it.
Had too much angle to play onto the 8-ball, so tried to get that topside connection and just bump it onto the middle pocket. Now he's nowhere. Now it really could be his last shot if this doesn't go well.
Running out of time as well. Where's that 8-ball going? It's going safe. That does him nothing.
Well, he has tied up the 8-ball and 2 yellows, so it might get him back to the table, but it's not going to help his cause. It's just going to kill more time on the clock.
Yeah, John would like to run this match out 8-2, but frankly, that doesn't really matter versus getting the win.
Have some of that. John didn't quite get his safety shot right, but let's take. Have some of that. That is incredible. John did not get his safety shot right, but wow, that was impressive from Rab. Hammers it in. Such an explosion when he gets it right. But it's dry. That was probably the best break in terms of quality in the match, but not the result.
Bad moment for it to happen. You couldn't really have begrudged him one go at a quick clearance there. I think probably still a bridge too far even if he'd got it. But now John McAllister in first. We're at a point where time is just about still there. We're not talking a complete miracle. I mean, we're asking an awful lot to get 4 frames in a row. Rab will be thinking it's not totally done yet, but it's getting very close to that point. We saw in the ladies' final, 𝗍𝗵𝘃𝗵 had a bit of a lap of honour. There was a moment where she was just too far ahead of Megan Proctor. Megan played a few more shots, but there's never really a way back into it.
There'll be no way back into it if John clears up here, though. And that's exactly what he's eyeing up. He's not straight enough, though, is he, to play on the one nearest the top right corner pocket. So how does he get onto the 8-ball?
Three pots away now from that title.
It's just very difficult to get a good angle on this red, to get down onto the 8-ball, though. Well, it was. He just didn't make it look like it was. Even then, he is actually a couple of rolls short. I don't think he can just come through the gap, and he's hampered. Yeah, he might have to come twice across. Now comes right side, so this 8-ball for the title.
How good was that? Those last 2 balls. Okay, there was no pressure on it, but that was just top draw queuing.
It's another title for John McAllister. The machine delivered plenty of machine-like finishes, just like that last one. Finishes the tournament in style, making the difficult look easy. And John McAllister adds another title to his CV, his 2nd Pro Series title, and he will be crowned champion here of Pro Series 5. We will throw it down to Stephen Jameson in the arena after this short break.